Hi, my name is Shailyn Dixon. I'm a fourth year performance acting student at TMU, and my project is called Threads in My Back Pocket. It is a collection of poetry that I've compiled and added to, spanning from works from high school that I wrote and all the way to yesterday. Originally, my project was meant to be a first draft that I could then submit to a publishing house if I wanted to, or to then self publish myself. However, now it is an Instagram account that I've created for my poetry in general, where I can begin uploading my work to gain an audience while also giving myself more time to create and do more pieces for my collection, which I'll then hopefully take to a publishing house or self publish for myself when I feel like I've grown more as a poet and when I feel more confident in the pieces I have. My journey at first was kind of all over the place. I felt like I was just um, going in one big circle and I was just repeating the same steps over and over again while not making any actual progress because I was just in a constant state of creating pieces over and over and not knowing where to go from there or how to take them and shape them for my project. But now being on the other end of the course, I can look back and see my journey more as um, this line that has continuous loops in it, where there's ups and downs, but really and truly, like I am getting to a better position after each up and down moment. Um, I was really shocked by the kind of feedback and encouragement that I was getting from my peers. At the beginning, I really only shared my work with people who already knew me as a writer and knew my style of writing, and that was really helpful because their feedback was very specific. But when I shared my work with the rest of the class and other peers outside who maybe hadn't read my work before, a lot of the feedback I received was based on the way I should present it. And there were so many ideas that I had just never had crossed my mind. Um, and it was like using a multimedia form or audio recording of my voice or integrating collages or video collages with my pieces to really grab my audience. But the main thing that was said was that I need to keep it personal because there's a personalization to my work that they really enjoyed. So that kind of encouragement has really just made me want to continue with this project even after this course because I'm like, there's clearly an audience out there who wants to read my work, which has been really inspiring for me. Um, I think my biggest setback or lesson in this course has been deciding on how I wanted to share my work. That was definitely a major lesson or setback for me in this process. I was stuck on deciding for so long. I think that's one of the reasons it took so much time that I could have used to then help create this Instagram account because I was deciding and it took so much time that I could have just allocated it for an actual curation of my Instagram page. I was so resistant to using social media at first because I felt like it was a cop out. So navigating that change when I finally decided to use Instagram was really a hurdle for me to get over. But I think what helped me in getting over that was actually recognizing that Instagram is just a form for me to grow as a poet, and it's just a step in the direction that I want to go as a writer and like how I want to then start publishing my work. So once I kind of thought of it like that, it became more fun, and like now I've been really focusing on like putting together my posts and like creating my I guess social media presence, and that's been really interesting trying to integrate all the different pieces that have been in my head and putting it as like this physical tangible thing. Um, what did I learn from end users, customers, audiences, or beneficiaries? I think the main thing I learned was that there are many ways that people would be interested in viewing my work, and I don't need to limit myself to be one thing. The majority of people, like I said, who would be interested in my writing, like the personalization that comes with my pieces. So ensuring that doesn't get lost when I begin posting is really, really important. And also a really good way to stay relatable and connect to people through the screen because I feel like a lot of the time these Instagram poetry accounts are just like the pieces themselves and there's not much personality behind it, and so you're not really getting who the writer is or where these pieces might be coming from. Like sometimes you can tell, but I feel like it gets kind of overloaded and it's pretty like the market's pretty saturated. So I think that was something that I really am taking with me as I continue on with this project. I've learned a lot of things about myself. I learned how much I really can throw myself into poetry and how exciting it makes me to create. I find it's kept me engaged and in a consistent creative flow, which has been really refreshing since I was worried that after my program I'd be burnt out because we're constantly like in a creating mode, even if it's not necessarily fulfilling to us. But this project has been really fulfilling for me, and it's been kind of a passion project. So I think because of that, I've been able to really look at the ways in which I create as an artist and learn what things work for me and what doesn't work. I don't necessarily think I've advanced in my field or industry, but I definitely think I've grown as an artist, which is all that I could ask for. I think as a poet specifically, I think I've advanced on a personal level as well. I have been able to explore my strengths as a writer and learn new things about myself, like how quickly I'm able to write a piece and what things usually motivate me to continue. Um, I find like I get into these modes where sometimes I'll be writing strictly in rhyme, which isn't something I necessarily think I'm going to fall into, but it just kind of happens. And then the next piece I write, I'm like, I'm rhyming again, and it kind of just sends me into a spiral. So I have moments like that where I feel like there's some pieces that really connect with one another or have similar themes or styles. Um, and after each piece, I just feel more motivated to just write the next one, which has been really fun to play around with. And I think growing as an artist is my main goal anyway. I'm not in this for fame as a poet or anything, so I'm happy to just advance on a personal level more so than anything. Um, Next steps for me are fairly open. I think I'll continue to write and draft posts that I think people will like. Maybe creating a loose schedule to keep me motivated to share my work. That'll be something that I definitely will implement because I didn't do that at the beginning, and that really set me back, I think. But aside from posting on social media, I do want to focus more on, especially on my draft. So maybe picking from my poetry collection that I've kind of curated at the moment. That goes directly into my collection because there's some pieces that probably won't fit in, and I want my collection to kind of have a through line, even if the themes aren't exactly the same. So separating them from the rest would be helpful for me to see visually what I have for my collection and what I have just for posting or possibly for another collection. But I think seeing it visually will definitely help me kind of navigate like what steps I need to take um, in my creation process. And I think a piece of advice that I would give myself now knowing what I know is that I should prioritize the stages that I have for my project. I think at the start I focused too much on just creating, but I hadn't planned out what it was I exactly needed to accomplish in order to get my project to where I wanted it to be. So this would include coming up with phases, loose schedules, building in time for feedback. So I can't avoid it because I'll say, I'm gonna go get feedback, but I wouldn't actually put in the date or the time or like map out who it is I'm asking. So without that kind of structure, it just stopped me completely, and I kind of felt at a loss of where to go. So doing stuff like that would have definitely helped push me further to my goal, and I wish I'd known that at the beginning. So I definitely would tell myself this if I could go back. And some takeaways from the course. I think my main takeaway from the course has been how doable it is to begin your own project. I've always been intimidated by starting my own business or any other avenues outside of acting because I didn't have the experience. But seeing all the different people in the class take on projects that have nothing to do with their area of study, or even if it was in alignment with what they want to do, it was just really inspiring to see some of them put in the work to create something that means something to them as opposed to working on something that isn't theirs and it's more for a business or for another group of people. It might not be like a passion of theirs. Um, and I'd say the value in this course is mainly the community that can come within the course and all the different types of people who can give you feedback and different ideas. That's something I definitely wish I had taken advantage of more at the beginning of this course because people outside of myself can give great input, and I find that when I finally did reach out, I got great input that I am now implementing into my project that I would have never thought of had I not reached out to them or asked them questions. So definitely the community that comes with it is the biggest value that I see in it. Thank you so much. Bye.